Hey,
Yo.
hey Tim,
What is up?
how's it going, man?
Like I fucked up. I forgot this was right on. I should like have a Panic shirt on or something, but that's okay. Good enough.
Is Panic your favorite jam band?
Um, yeah, I mean, I mean, I just have such a special connection with them. I mean,
Yeah.
right now at this very moment, I'd probably enjoy a Goose show better, but my Panic associations go way deep. I have a deep emotional connection to Panic that I
Tell me
don't let.
about your deep emotional connection to Panic.
I mean, my whole life would be different without Panic, honestly. That feels like overstating it or a little dramatic, but I would probably have a different friend group. My like experience with music would be totally different. I was in high school, a politics dork and kind of sport, and I also like sports too, but like as a from a nerdy stats
Yeah,
side of things, not like for
same.
playing them. You can see it for people watching, you can see my skinny arms. So like I like listened to talk radio and shit in high school. Like I listened to music, like I listened to popular music that was on, and had a general interest in music in high school, but it really wasn't until like senior year of high school and the freshman year of college that I started really getting into music, which also was maybe associated slightly with starting to smoke more weed, but that's an aside. But I went to the first Panic show in Charlotte in like 2001 with some of my friends, and it just was a totally different experience for me. I'd been to concerts before that were fine, but didn't really land. But just like how into it everybody was, the whole experience around it, just kind of the energy in there.
Yeah.
And I ended up like going on a deep dive and just like a lot of these jam bands, and they cover so much stuff. So then they expose me to like a bunch of stuff I never would have seen before. Like I knew Neil Young as from like Keep on Rockin' in the Free World or like whatever's on classic rock radio, which is fine. Neil Young, Ohio or whatever CSNY. But like, Panic is playing like Tonight's the Night record. Like they were exposing me to stuff that I would had not been exposed to, or JJ Cale or Earl Burnside, or like you go down the list. Talking Heads, who I liked already, but some of the deeper Talking Heads material. And so, like for that reason, I got I think they are all responsible a lot for my interest in music. And then, like I said, I mean, I ended up meeting my best friends on Panic Tour. Like my best friend from college was into Panic. And then we would go travel, follow them around throughout college. And so like my high school friends would come meet us places. Then his high school friends would come meet us, and like we kind of bonded into this bigger group. And I've met the people that like my godson, I met, his parents,
Wow.
like his dad, like those are my best friends. I know godparent to their kids, and like we all hang out. It's kind of why I live in Louisiana now. I mean, like Panic is everything. Like they were the origin of like a big change in my life. So I like that's the best. I could do an hour on that alone, but that's the short description.
That's so formative and amazing. I could say the same thing for Phish. I don't know if you're into Phish as well, but they got me into new music from their covers, and I think that's a jam band thing, is that people get into bands from jam bands covering music that you may not have heard of in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I like Fish okay, and at some level there was like a little bit of a. I think this is more of a kind of a one-way street.
Yeah.
The rivalry, some ways, like where the panic
Yeah.
people resented the Fish people more. Fish people like the
Classic.
meme, the Mad Men meme. It's like I don't think about you at all, kind of. So there's like a little bit of that. I liked Fish, and I traveled to see. I've like for a band I don't really like that much. Like I've probably seen them a half dozen times, and there's certain songs I really like, and I've had some fun times there. It didn't really. I don't. There was something about the southern element of Panic that like I had a connection to it that like was beyond music, kind
Yeah.
of a little bit, like with particularly the other people like the crowd. Obviously, there's some overlap, but like I don't know. There was something about Fish that was like a little bookish
It's a little
and
academic.
crunchy. Yeah, a little crunchy for me. I mean, shit, at the time I was a Republican, not anymore, but like, I don't know. There's something a little bit more accessible about Panic for me for whatever reason. I found myself sometimes at Fish shows like thinking about my homework, and like,
Yeah.
my mind would wander in ways that was not is not as much of an escape for me.
Right.
Um, but uh, but I mean, I had some friends who were really into Fish, and I like, for folks that does, you know what I mean? Like, not the
Yeah.
same, not everything's going to connect with everybody, right?
Yeah. What was your first concert of all time?
My first concert of all time was pretty good. It's a good one, which I'm proud of, which was Tom Petty at Red Rocks.
Wow.
So I grew up in Denver, right? And then my college friends are from the South. But the so I had a bunch of good Red Rocks experiences. But it's funny. Like I also was at oh God, now it's been so long. See, we're aging ourselves. Like
Yeah.
you're given our years. Like what was the where was the Dave show in Colorado that they made the live show out
Red,
of?
Red Rocks.
It was at Red Rocks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That
It
was a
was on
great,
Red
great
Rocks.
album.
Okay, I just had a brief like moment of questioning myself about whether that was maybe at one of the other venues.
Yeah,
But
that happens.
I was at that, and like
Wow.
I dislike Dave, and so like for a while I went with that with people and told them that was my first show because they thought it was cool. But then I decided to tell the truth. But no, Petty was on Wildflowers tour, I guess I think was my
That
first.
probably makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it was my first show. It was really good,
Yeah.
and I really liked it. But no, I don't know. There's something about it. Like the Dave stuff never really stuck with me. Like he's like those big late '90s, early 2000s like grunge alternative rock
Yeah.
bands like never really took with me.
Yeah.
And so and like it took me a minute. Like even the early indie. Like I remember I saw like an early like a friend brought me to an early Interpol show.
Hmm.
And I was like, I don't know, something about the shoot, the looking at the ground, and nobody's partying, and they were partying their own ways, and they're
They're
probably,
definitely partying.
I don't know, it just never really. Eventually, I kind of came around to being like getting very big into indie stuff. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's like I really saw like I would say of my first 50 shows, like 44 of them are jam band shows,
Yeah. Yeah.
probably.
Yeah. So you're in a Goose.
I'm gonna Goose now.
You're a big Goose
I
head.
love Goose. The thing I like the most about Goose is that their influences. It's like the first real jam band, and I'm sure there are other ones that are like this that like haven't been big enough to like catch my radar or whatever. But like you can tell like how their influences are kind of like in indie, like that, like
Yeah.
aught stuff, right? Like indie and a little bit of alternative, Blind Melon or that, kind of alternative 90s stuff and indie. And you can hear that like in their tone. Like my first actual exposure to Goose was through indie. It was they did a 20-minute, 21-second version of Vampire Weekend's 2021.
Yeah. I
Which
remember
was
that.
which is fucking awesome. It's like so good, and I like as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my God, I love these guys, and so I like that there's something boring is not the right word, but like I don't know, I got a little bit, um, I was not quite as stimulated by the classic rock kind of
Yeah.
cover stuff and energy after a while. Like I still like it, but so the fact that Goose sort of changed that up, I liked. They also like do a lot of like the tropes of jammy stuff,
Sure.
which was nice for a little bit of, and they do them well,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with doing a trope if you do it very well. And like they do it very well. Like there are moments that kind of sound like Umphreys or whatever, like other stuff from that
Right.
time, which is cool. Rick's handsomeness doesn't really hurt for
Sure.
me as far as getting into Goose.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I saw them at Red Rocks last year, 2 years ago, and at night it was fucking freezing, and it was awesome. It was
Yeah.
so
It's a good
fun. It
vibe.
was
Have
like
you
a
seen the show at the
cold.
Gorge yet?
I've never been to the Gorge.
You got to make
We
it
were
out.
just talking with my bestie about this. We went to see Oasis in Chicago.
Oh, you saw
We were kind of
Oasis?
like,
Oh,
yeah, we went to see Oasis in Manchester and then Chicago. This is the same. Again, this is my Panic crew
oh my
talking about
God.
how my life changed with Panic. Like the people that I went to Manchester to see Oasis with and then Chicago are like all my friends that I met on
Wow.
Panic tour. And a couple of them had gone to the Gorge. We were kind of like doing memories and like, which shows we've been to together and like trying, some of it gets a little blurry as you might imagine. And like two of us were like, no, we never did the Gorge trip, which I regret. It's like a little bit of a pain in the ass to get there versus Red Rocks. Is that
Yeah.
true or not really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as easy as getting to Red Rocks for sure. But it's worth it. It's beauty like you've never seen at a concert before, and I really recommend it. It's
Okay.
pretty
I'll add it.
earth-shattering.
I want to do the Gorge. Maybe.
Oasis has been making me so happy because in this time of complete hell and ghoulishness, they really seem to be a unifying force of happiness and purity, and it's really been making me happy to see it on social
Yeah,
media.
same. I had like one guy, I will not out him, but like one of the one of the cool things of being on the podcast, like you reaching out, is that
Yeah.
like particularly not really like new cool. No offense to the people that follow my podcast, I appreciate it. Not particularly like new cool musicians. Like I don't think MJ Lenderman is listening to the pod or the Geese guys, but our era, like indie rock and up, once you get into your 40s and 50s, it's time to care about the news and start listening to politics. So like I get messages
Yeah.
from guys and cool band and like bands that are, which I really like. One of them, I won't out, was like shit talking Oasis, and it was like the only negative moment that I'd seen about it. And it was, and I was just like, bro, just kind of let us have this, all right? And nobody's out here saying that this is, they're winning on musicianship,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I remember the old days of fighting over like, who had a better guitar between Mikey or the Phish guys or whatever. And it's
Right.
like
Right.
nobody's acting like Noel is, the greatest lead guitarist of all time. It's just like they do really well, like perfectly executed
Yeah.
hooky songs for drunk people to sing along with their pals. Like that's what
Yeah.
it is. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a total purity to that. And I got very emotional. I mean, the Manchester show is so emotional for me.
I'm
But
sure.
I got emotional again in Chicago. Like I almost didn't see it again because I was like, the Manchester show was such a top thing for me I've ever done that I was like, the magic won't be the same. And it wasn't. But it was still worth it. Like I still got feel feelings. And
Yeah.
it's so important to people and like the people around everybody. It's like the 16 years, them
It's
getting
so
back
sweet.
together.
It's
Yeah.
so moving. And hating on Oasis, it's like I understand being a hater of stuff. I'm a hater of much, but hating on Oasis is like hating pizza or something. It's just like, what are you hating?
Yeah, it's great. What is their name?
It's like,
It's great. They're funny.
yeah,
Like, they sound good. You can
yeah,
put it on. You can put it on at the pool. You can put it on in the car with the windows down.
yeah,
No, it's good. Liam sounds awesome. Like,
yeah. They sound great.
the Richard Ashcroft opened in
Oh
Manchester,
wow.
and God, it was cool. And God love him. It was and like whatever. It was cool. It was fun, and the people around us were so into it.
Yeah,
Like the Lokes. but like he just, man, he's been partying. Like he sounds like it. Nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
But and so I don't know. Like Liam must have just like quit smoking for a year and gotten a vocal coach or
yeah,
drinking a lot of water, or maybe he's just not human. I don't know. But he sounds fucking amazing. He sounds
yeah.
amazing.
And I have to assume that they're going to tour more because of the success of this.
You
I
would
would
think
hope,
so.
or
I
maybe
hope
make a
so.
new album or something.
I mean, I would imagine it'd be good.
You're an MJ Lenderman fan?
Oh yeah.
He's a local here.
In Charlotte? Are you still in Charlotte?
I'm in Durham, North Carolina. He just
Oh, you're in
moved to
Durham. Yeah.
Chapel Hill
Oh yeah,
actually
I
to
knew
do.
that. I knew he was from Durham. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's cool, man. I saw him. The thing that made me think he was so cool, this is gonna be you can tell I'm not a Republican anymore after this. This is my new like soft boy woke take, is I saw Wednesday right down from my house here in New Orleans at Gasa Gasa. It's a tiny venue, like right when their first record came out,
yeah,
because it just was lucky. Like I don't know, it was fucking on one of the buzz sites I read,
yeah,
and they happened to be coming like the next week. And I thought it was so cool. Like I was watching it, I thought it was so cool that he was like kind of backing up his girlfriend. Like
yeah,
he could like tell how talented he was, and like that she totally had the spotlight, and he was like doing the tiny venues with her,
yeah,
and I don't know, like their whole vibe. Like I really like. I don't think they're together anymore, but even still,
yeah,
whatever. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but like their vibe was really cool. And so I didn't really know, like I had heard one or two of the songs of his, but like seeing them in that setting, which was by the way the Wednesday set was awesome. I went down the MJ track, and yeah, he kind of feels like the dad rock band of the moment. I mean, I went to see
yeah,
him at
for sure.
Ticatina's about a month or two ago, or maybe it was a little longer ago than that, and it was just like dad's night out. It was just partying dad, like really
Yeah.
drunk dads,
But a few of
there
the songs would be like bona fide radio hits in the 90s.
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the songwriting is so good. He's so
Yeah.
funny and clever.
Funny.
Um,
And yeah.
yeah, it's really, really good.
Not to like do a name drop flexing, but he has become a
No flex.
friend, IRL friend, and he is like so sweet and like just as you would imagine how nice he is. So
I do name Jeff Flex. I was like, I liked his I almost did, I meant to. I like his record so much that I almost I think that must be a Durham guy. Like I was starting to look at the art for the dude that
yeah, TV
does the
Beaches.
yeah,
He's
TV
amazing. Yeah.
Beaches.
Yeah.
Yeah. This reminds me that I should do that. It's one of those things where like I meant to do it and I like looked at the thing and never actually purchased it, but I was like, I want to kind of buy some of his art for the vibe
Yeah.
wall.
He sells his paintings and they're incredible. Really
Yeah.
cool, nice guy. Ween, are you a Ween guy?
Ween was a little hardcore for me. I'm still gay. All right, Brian. I don't know. Ween was a little hardcore for me.
Yeah.
You can't get me on Ween. I mean, I liked if you put like their top 20 songs in front of me, I can be like, oh, I liked a couple of them, but I can't pull any.
Yeah, yeah. I will say for Dave Matthews, I do really admire that he is the only person in jam band world who's talking about politics on stage and speaking his mind.
Do you like that? So this is I might be
Yeah,
out of step on this because politics is my life, but I don't know, man. It's kind of like I think this really just might be a personal thing because it's kind of like I don't know. I think about my buddies that are doctors and they're like, I don't know, would they be thrilled if they went to a show and they got a little high and the guy on stage started talking about their medical experiences? Like probably not, right?
I
Like,
totally feel you on that. Yeah.
like and I just like I'm like I forget who is it Dark Side? Somebody I saw at Coachella this year. I was just like, bro, like we just do like 20% less of this. Like I get it, like a little thing is cool. So no, it's good. I mean, and talking about off is good. Doing it in a way that's funny
Yeah.
is good. Who was it? I thought Sturgill. Sturgill's been really good about this.
He's been great. Yeah.
About his way. It's like a little less on the nose.
Yeah.
He's kind of funny about it,
Yeah.
and that's cool. Like I saw the Viagra Boys at Coachella too, and like their like songs are obviously political, but it's more there's some irony drenched
Yeah.
in it, and it's so anyway. I like that more than like the Bono. Like one of my other first concerts was U2,
Ooh.
which sucked. And like again, like Bono's doing the stuff like. I felt like half the time he's talking, and I'm just like, that's
Yeah.
just not why I'm here for
Yeah.
this.
It's
I
tough because it's
appreciate
like
what you're doing. I don't want you to not do it. I just, there's kind of an appropriate time and place, I
I
guess, is all.
know it's tough because you have a big platform and then you feel passionate about something and you're like, I want to talk about it, but then it's like, how much do you want to hear about it?
Yeah.
Um, I like
Or
you
just do it
too.
like one thing, like a little bit, like
Yeah.
one time.
Yeah. Maybe like less Roger Waters and more like Viagra Boys.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a little bit. So I don't want to dog Dave for doing it, but yeah, it's just a little bit nails and chalkboardy for me, DMB. It's like nothing against people. I don't want to yuck people's yum if they're into it,
I feel
but
you.
it just never was for me.
What was your turning point on changing you from a Republican to a whatever you'd call yourself now, Democrat, Independent?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Democrat for all intents and purposes. I haven't voted. I've only voted for one Republican since 2016 as sort of local office. He had no chance to win, so it's kind of a write-in vote of principle. But
Sure.
the man, I wish that I could have a deeper answer to this than was just I was like fucking repulsed by Trump. I just
Yeah.
was repulsed. I didn't he didn't appeal to me in any way. This is why I kind of hate it when people like tell me like I don't hate it makes me uncomfortable when people are like, "Oh, I appreciate your courage or
Yeah.
whatever. You're for speaking out or for doing this." I'm just like, it wasn't courage. Like it wasn't anything. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't a close call for me. I find him repulsive in every single way. There's nothing about him that I find appealing. His policies, like to the extent that like he was different from from type of Republicans that I worked for, like McCain and Huntsman. Like like I was always a moderate, squishy Republican, so there are always things about the Republicans that I didn't like, but like I
Yeah.
just sort of preferred the moderate, squishy Republicans to like the other options on the table.
Sure.
And so like Trump fucking threw in the shitter all the things that I liked about them,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Even if you think compassionate conservatism was bullshit, like at least they were trying. Like at least they paid lip service to it. At least like there was an
There's like
effort, right? Like,
decorum.
Trump just like, yeah, threw all that shit in the trash. And it's just like whether it be immigration or foreign aid or kind of like traditional like free markets and free people type stuff. Like Trump was against all of that, and so and then he kept all the Republican shit I didn't really like.
Yeah.
The xenophobia. I don't really care that much about their responsible spending. I don't care that much about rich. So anyway, for me, Trump was just a no across the board. And my departure from being a Republican came down to the fact that pretty much everybody went along with him. Like, I wanted to stay and fight for the party. There was a period of time where that was people were trying to do that, and it's just obvious that the voters weren't interested in it, which shows, I think, that I clearly, in retrospect, misunderstood and misjudged what my fellow Republicans were voting for. So that's like totally on me. But then on top of that, like even the leaders who know better, who say this, who agreed with me in private, sometimes telling me as much, they all went along with it. They all went along with all the worst shit. And so I'm like, well, like, there's obviously no room for me here in this party. And so here we are.
What is Trump's power? It's like he has some esoteric power over these people. I mean, It's almost like he scares them or something.
Man, it's bottom up. I mean, Trump, well, there's two things that are happening. Trump is really good at manipulating people. Like I don't know that he has a power over them, but like Trump, but all these guys that are at the top of politics, they were playing by different rules. Like they came up with different backgrounds. Like all of them were mostly nerds.
Yeah.
Like they didn't sit at the cool kids table in high school. They aren't good, they aren't performers. They don't hang out with celebrities. They all kind of want that. But politics is a way for them to get this sort of affirmation of and get their ego stroked that they want. Trump came from that other world, and so he can push them around and bully them and use language and rhetoric and jokes and memes that like they would never have the courage to do, or even if they could do it, it would come off weird. It look like what JD Vance is doing now, it would be kind of cringy and like so Trump like had that advantage over them where he's able to bully them because of his talent, if you want to call it that. And then the other point though is that the bottom up, like the voters wanted Trumpism. Like this is my point about why I leave the Republican Party. Like there was no point in fighting over the Republican Party because the party is just a compilation of people. Like that's all a party is. It's not like there's the 40 theses that were written on high that the party can never leave from. Like all the party is just whatever the people who are members of the party want it to be. And the members of the party want it to be a cult of Trump. And so politicians who wanted to stay in good standing in that party had to make a choice. Like they either, became apostles in the cult of Trump to murder the metaphor, or they did what Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney did, and they bailed.
Yeah.
They bailed. So like that, like Trump's power is partially in his own whatever persona, but mostly in the power he has over the voters of the party.
It surprises me that they want that cult because it seems like there's a level of decorum. There's that John McCain vibe of like, kind of a classy figure. And now all of a sudden they're just kind of like into it.
Yeah,
It's,
I
it's
mean,
quite ghoulish and
yeah,
repulsive.
I guess it is. It's extremely ghoulish, but Trump gives people an excuse to be their worst selves.
Yeah, so
That's
that's a great
part of
point.
it. And I think a lot of people had that inside of them, but there's I'm virtue signaling gets a bad rap these days, but I'm kind of like for virtue signaling.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
like we live in a society. There's something to be said for being in a society and like projecting values you wish that you would have instead of like projecting your worst whims at all
Yeah.
times. And so Trump kind of gives people the excuse to sort of project the worst of themselves onto the world. I also think that decorum, to the extent it ever really existed, that people cared about it. I think it was a unique time and place of kind of a WASP culture that that was developed, by kind of the World War I, World War II generation.
Yeah.
And I do think the extent that there were that for some of those people, like those values were legit, and they wanted that type of decorum, and they thought that that was an important value. And that group, I know a lot of the World War One crowd was dead, but like Trump within the Republican Party, this is counterintuitive for some people who don't like pay that close attention.
Yeah.
He does better with younger than older, right? Like Trump's weakest sector within the Republican Party was like World War II era, like 80 plus, right? Because in some ways he was a rebuke. Now, some of them went along with it and ended up, getting brain poisoned by Fox, but there was like a cohort of George H.W. Bush era Republicans
Yeah.
who really didn't like this from that generation. I just don't think that any of their kids or grandkids really cared about that. And I think that the youngest now have been sort of forged in this fire of Trumpism where this is just normal for them and they
Yeah.
like it.
My grandpa's a 101 World War II hero and he hates Trump.
There you go. Was he ever a Republican? Like, did he vote for Mitt Romney or McCain? He was
Never,
always a Democrat. So
never.
not a great test case, but
I was a
the
Democrat.
principle though exists.
And I think we're seeing levels of Trump fatigue within youth MAGA. I mean, if you look at Nick Fuentes, he's gone totally against Trump, which is very weird to see.
Yeah, the Nick Fuentes thing is interesting. Maybe he just likes to be a contrarian. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, as a somebody who produces content, I'm jealous of him in only one regard. Like he's a
Yeah.
good presenter.
He is a great presenter.
He's a good presenter and he has a good cadence and he keeps you in and draws you in. Like sometimes I'm kind of, as people who've listened this far can tell, I can be a circuitous sort of speaker, and it's better to be like rat-a-tat-tat, la da da da, and he's good at that
Yeah.
and making an argument. And I think maybe that this is just kind of a way for him to kind of distinguish himself and make an argument. Maybe he sees the writing on the wall better than others. I don't know. He's going after JD Vance harder than he's going after Trump, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I think that there have been this like category of young men that have been kind of forged by that sort of culture, streamer culture and Trump era,
Yeah.
who just like have a very reactionary worldview that is like meaningfully different from the generation ahead, like from us, like and
Yeah.
the Republicans in our time. And
It's scary.
I don't know. Yeah, it is scary. And I don't
Watching those
know
like
that like
Jubilee videos is insane.
what's that?
Those like Jubilee videos are insane.
Yeah. Yeah, they're insane. Like the 20 kids running around, they're just basically like dropping Carl Schmitt quotes and stuff. Like
Open fascists.
yeah, like it's crazy. And like yeah, unapologetic fascists. Like you didn't see that a lot back
Yeah.
in my day, not a ton of that. So I don't know. I think that there's a contrarianness to it. There is this as I said, reactionary, and so I'm not sure that Nick. I'm sure we can learn a lot from what Nick is saying right now quite
No.
yet.
No. It's just interesting to me that there is a sect of the internet, powerful quote unquote, that are turning against Trump, who are former Trumpers.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how much people follow it, right?
Yeah.
Part of it is, this is one encouraging thing, I think, I'm pretty bleak about the state of affairs, but one like little thread I've been really focused on is at at their core, right? If you're gonna be a fucking manosphere podcast, bro, right? Whether like broadly speaking, whether it's Joe Rogan, Theo Von, Andrew Schultz, I don't know if you'd put Nick in there because he's more ideological,
Yeah.
but people in that world, right? You have to be anti-power, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just be a fucking shill for the establishment. And Trump like played this weird trick on everybody where it's like because all the other elites hated him that you could kind of root for an anti-elite elite a little bit.
Yeah.
And this like allowed those guys to like go all in for Trump and focus their attacks on all these other elite institutions. Well, to the extent that Trump has made all of them bow to him and that all these fucking Silicon Valley douches now go there and lick his toes and all these other institutions are settling with him and that he has total power of the Congress, total power. He's making his own little internal military. It becomes hard for those guys to like figure out how they can just be totally cheerleaders for it. I like their whole nature is like fuck the man,
Yeah.
fuck the common conventional wisdom, fuck the establishment, and so it's hard to you becomes incongruous to do
Yeah.
that and also cheer for Trump. And so I think maybe there's a backlash coming somewhere in
Yeah.
that world. I don't want to get too excited about it, but like
No,
I feel like that would be good though.
it's crazy to see Charlie Kirk saying, trust your government.
Yeah. Well, Charlie
Oh,
Kirk is a fucking shill, and he's always
yeah.
going to be a shill.
Yeah. Him
But
and
like
Tim
Tim
Pool
Dillon,
and
I've
all
been
of them.
watching a lot of Tim Dillon material
I
lately,
love Tim Dillon.
and he still does a lot of shit that is like way too credulous for about what these
Yeah.
guys are all about. But you can just see it's kind of like, what is happening? Like, we're covering up Epstein. We have Peter Thiel in there spying on everybody's information. We've got mass thugs and shit. Like his little rant recently about how
Oh
what is
my
happening
God.
right now is everything Alex Jones ever warned of was so good and so spot on. And I think those guys are representative of a real strain of guy out there
Yeah.
in the world, from our age, like down to like 18, who like don't want this, like who maybe they're not libertarians, but like they don't want this fucking security state government boot on your neck shit.
Yeah.
And when it felt like Trump was fighting that, they could get down with that. And
Yeah.
when Trump becomes that, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, wait, that's not what I signed up for. Now all of us could be like, you're an idiot. You did sign up for that. They had mass deportation now signs at the fucking convention. But whatever. We are where we are now. And like you can just kind of sense that there is a
Yeah.
potential cleave there.
Major. I mean, at least Andrew Schultz is saying, I didn't want this. At least Joe Rogan is saying, that's odd. Like you're feeling this blowback for sure. And Tim Dillon really grossed me out having JD Vance on, but I love him so much. He's so brilliant. I can't hate him. He's so
He's
funny.
so funny, dude. He's so fun. I was laughing. I've like he's had me laughing out loud several times recently, like his Saudi Arabia
Oh my
shtick about
God.
the endings that they're doing, and I don't know, man. He has some good material. So that's hopefully there's something to that, and But it's gonna
Yeah.
all that takes time. Like that shit doesn't happen overnight. Like it's got to seep through
Yeah.
into the culture, and then Democrats have to offer something else to those guys. I mean, I guess it'd be better than nothing for them to just check back out because a lot of those people weren't voting before
Right.
anyway, and maybe that's fine. By the way,
Yeah.
maybe that's a winning solution. But Democrats got to find somebody that would offer an appeal to them, and that is true of like Black and Hispanic dudes too, and
Yeah.
like it's true across the board.
I'm having a hard time having any faith in the Democratic Party when they're not endorsing Zoran Mandani, and the people clearly
So
want
are
it.
you a full Zoran head? Like, are you
I wouldn't
like,
call myself a Zoran head. I haven't looked into him that much, but I know that the people want him generally in New York for
yeah,
sure. And Hakeem Jeffries not endorsing him is, I find, slightly disturbing and weird. I don't know how you feel about it. I saw your interview
ludicrous?
with him. You were
Yeah,
calling him
I
out.
thought it was ludicrous.
Yeah.
I spent like 5 minutes of my interview with Hakeem about this because I was just like, I don't understand what you're doing. Like it does,
What do you
like it
think he's doing?
offends me as a former strategist. It doesn't offend me as somebody who feels that passionately about Zoran. It's like this is the people, the voters are telling you what you want. It goes
Yeah.
back to the Trump, what we were saying about the weak Republicans. Like at some level, we got to listen to what your voters want if you want to be a leader of that party, of that group. Now, if the voters want you to do something that's crossways with your values, okay, like fight it out, but then you're not the leader of the group, you know?
Yeah.
And and like I just think that the lack of endorsement of Zoran makes no sense. I don't.
I
I
mean,
think
you're
that
you're
some of like the DSA lefty types like think that like Zoran is this huge model and that like Democrats are going to start winning in Iowa again if they have Zoran people running everywhere. I don't think that's like I think he's unique to New York
yeah,
in a lot of ways,
totally.
but he's totally not. He's like inoffensive to me, and I have disagreements with him on various things. But
Yeah.
like the idea that these establishment Democrats can't just like channel some fucking positive energy while they have it. Like it just is it's just such an own goal. It's just
I
like
mean,
there's
you're finally seeing a semblance of excitement within youth, and you're like denying that.
yeah.
It's the
Here's
one
the other
problem.
thing, and like we'll see, we can test it out. Like there'll be some people will tell me that like I'm crazy, but I don't know, man. I think there could be a center left Zoran. I think there could be an abundancy Zoran if
Yeah.
they had charisma and talked about shit people cared about. Like Zoran, obviously a big part of his support is ideological.
Mhm.
But also, the dude is a good hang. Like
Yeah.
he talks like a normal fucking person most of the time.
You understand social media?
Like he doesn't talk like a talking point bot. He says stuff that isn't like traditional far lefty stuff. Like I loved his video about the halal trucks.
Yeah,
Where
so
he's
good.
talking about how like the regulations on the halal trucks are like costing too much money. Like that could have been a fucking red tape cutting like
Brilliant. Yeah.
1990s Republican talking about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like there's too much red tape for small business.
Yeah.
Like so, he does shit like that. So I don't know. His vibe, the Democrats just to me, it's like, man, the Democrats need more people who could come hang. Like I don't know, man. Like look here, you're a podcast host. Let me ask you this: you have a pod about music and shit. Like how many Democrats do you think could come in on this podcast and have a good hang? And you feel like, man, that was a good hang.
Or like in the party, like working like
Yeah,
members of the yeah. I can't think of one to be
it's like
honest.
very challenging to think
Yeah.
of one. Like
Yeah.
it's very challenging, and like that's like not good. It's because Democrats have been self-selecting for like the dorky straight A went to McKinsey person, and like
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. But like, if you're gonna reach outside of the people that are already for you, you got to be able to go and chop it up about stuff that with on topics that people care about. And
Yeah.
it's tough to think of people that would be like good at that.
Yeah.
And
And I'm
Zoran, I think would be pretty good. I think Zoran might. I don't know if he's a music head. I can't really think
I
of him
think I
having
mean
talked
he's
about that.
had
So I
really
don't know if
cool
he'd be
bands
doing
play
this
his
stuff.
events.
What?
He's had really cool bands play his events, so I think he's on
Yes, maybe.
some sort of level of understanding. Or he has a good staff, but that's why Gavin Newsom, it's like I'm not a huge fan, but I do appreciate his pushback and his humor and his like social media strategy for this whole thing. I mean, you got to fight fire with fire, I guess, right? What do you think about the
Dude,
old
I think the
Gavin?
social media strategy has been good. I don't know that I want him to necessarily be the nominee or whatever, but like that's a
Yeah.
long way away. I'm
Yeah.
glad that he's showing a different model that works, right? I want Democrats to try new shit.
Yes.
That's what I want.
Have
Like we
fun.
don't know. Like everybody wants to pretend like they're an expert and they're a genius, and they're like, if you just do it, like for me, it's like if you just found kind of a center left moderate squish who's also a chill bro that
Yeah.
cusses, then we're definitely going to win. And it's like, I don't know, maybe not, but we could try that. Like, or if you just found a DSA person, we're definitely going to win. We don't know. Like, nobody would have told you in 2004 that what we really need is a guy with the middle name Hussein, talking about bringing the country together. Or in
Right.
2014, what we really need is Republicans to get out of the wilderness. We need like a quasi-racist reality show host, right? Like nobody, like we're not as good at predicting this shit as we think. So try new things, be yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you care about certain issues, talk about those. If you're funny, be funny. If you're a dork, be a dork. I just think that it's important that and so I like that the Gavin people, Gavin, at least in himself, like he was like, the first thing I'm going to try is I'm going to have on Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk for friendly conversations. And
Right.
everybody's like, boo.
Right. Right. Right.
And then Gavin's like, okay, cool. Well, I'm now going to try this other thing where like I really like troll Trump relentlessly. And
Yeah.
the crowd's like, yay. It's like, okay, well, there we go. That works. Like, let's try, keep trying shit out. And, hopefully it could work out.
Yeah. Steve Bannon's such a slippery little guy. I don't even know what his deal is.
Bandit's I've interviewed him a bunch and hung out with him quite a few times because I wrote about him for my book and for other shit, and I just find him more interesting than a lot of those other MAGA guys
Yeah, he's
because he's
smart. He's
not
smart shit.
he's so smart. He's
Yeah.
so smart. He's also ahead of the game. He's
Yeah.
been ahead of the game on where things were going on the right for a long time in a bad way, but
Yeah.
in a
True.
correct way, he was at the very tip of the spear of this pivot towards more nationalist populist Republican Party. Um, and um, and he can be funny. He's like, but he's full of shit
Yeah.
20% of the time. So that's the thing. That's what you're dealing with. When you say slippery, you're
Yeah.
dealing with somebody who's like really smart and really kind of ahead of the game about where the party's going
Yeah.
and well read, and also somebody that like one out of every four things out of his mouth is just complete bullshit and he knows it,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's kind of like, you got to figure out
It's kind of like a Joker.
you got to navigate through the through the force field of bullshit to figure it out.
Last political thing we'll talk about, but what is ICE? Like, are they police? Are they like what did you categorize them as? And like why do we have to follow their orders when they don't show badges or their faces? And it's just a confusing situation that's very scary to me, and I just want to talk about it a
Yeah.
little bit.
I mean, it's a domestic, they're turning it into essentially a federalized police force, like kind of like the FBI, like a domestic federal police force. Like their remit is right there in the name. It's supposed to be immigration and customs enforcement. Um, it feels like they're expanding it far beyond that, for sure. I think, look, the immigration thing is the most important thing for me about what's happening. It's the thing that pisses me off the most, gets my blood pressure the highest, and I think it's the thing that's the most dangerous going forward. As far as we've kind of barely scratched the surface of what they could end up doing. We
Yeah.
don't know, right? And they've done some really bad stuff already, and we have a new deportation center now at Angola here in Louisiana, and obviously El Salvador they send people to, but the funding that they've put into ICE is ungodly. And
It's
ISIS could have more money than the Israeli military, more money than our Marines. Like, uh,
50,000 signing bonus.
yeah, so they're just throwing around huge amounts of resources. Imagine the type of person that's self-selecting into going to ICE right now, who's volunteering. Like you're literally self-selecting for the most psychopathic people in the country who are volunteering for this, and the most unstable people in the country. I'd say maybe there are also a couple good people, but you're pretty much self-selecting for the fucking biggest assholes in the country right now who are raising their hand to say, "Oh yeah, I'll take that bonus and I'll go hassle some alleged migrants, alleged illegal migrants." And so I think that there are a lot of good people out there that do immigration law.
Hmm.
I think it's important for people to know their rights. And I expect that it's going to get a lot worse than it's before it gets better. And I hope this has been my big thing with Democrats to the topic we've been talking about is just like go at this unapologetically. Like there's just a conventional wisdom in DC that like immigration's a winner for Republicans and a loser for Democrats. They shouldn't talk about it. They should talk about Medicaid instead. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't. Okay, like talk about Medicaid too, but I think that this is deeply un-American what's happening. I think that people kind of get it in their core. There's a
Yeah.
recent poll that showed like numbers of whether you think immigration is good or bad for the country. It's showing like the highest numbers ever on good, and I think that that is that just regular people having an instinctual backlash against this kind of fascistic bullshit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's Pollyanna. Maybe the country wants fucking fascism. I don't, we'll find out. But I think it's a fight worth having. I think there are a lot of people that maybe like other elements of Trump and even like strong border shit who do not, who get very uncomfortable with dudes in masks, like grabbing guys gardening.
Those videos are worse than horror movies.
Yeah.
It's just like,
And
what?
one of these
Stop.
guys getting shot. And one of the things that worries me the most actually is like in this country, so, and we've concealed carry in a lot of these states. We
Yeah.
have an insane proliferation of guns. This was an issue I was always a squish on, even back when I was Republican. It's just, I grew up right by Columbine, and I was always just like, this is crazy. What we
Right.
have, why do we have, like, why so many people have easy access to guns? And so anyway, we have this country with so easy access to guns, and now we have mass dudes jumping out of vans, grabbing people. Like, you don't think that one of those guys is going to fucking draw down on one of these dudes grabbing them? And then can you imagine what the administration will do next?
Yeah.
Once, how much they'll escalate once they like see these fucking migrant killers or these liberal whatever have now. I just that's to me one of the worst case scenarios that I maybe is overstating to say it's inevitable. It's not inevitable, but like,
One could say that they want that.
yeah,
I mean, one
yeah.
could say that that's the idea.
Yeah, no, they do want. I mean, I don't know if they want a nice guy to get killed, but they want to have violent resistance against them so they can escalate the cycle of violence for
Yeah,
sure.
they tried it in LA and people were pretty chill and it didn't happen. And they showed them that
Right.
they could just protest peacefully.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's pretty, aside from Mr. Garrison, who I defend for joining ICE.
You defend Mr. Garrison. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that Mr. Garrison's put the best foot forward for gays, so I'm always kind of mixed on him.
What do you have coming up concert wise that you want to see?
Oh, bro. All right. What do I have coming up? Here in New Orleans, we've got Magdalena Bay. That's my little kind of gay poppy side of me.
Fun.
Coming to town in a couple months. I'm very excited about that. My other gay poppy side is I'm gonna try to catch Addison Rae's tour. She's
Cool.
Louisiana and girl pop. I've got Vampire Weekend coming to Louisiana. I'm
Finally saw them
gonna.
for the first time this year. It was amazing.
You finally saw them the first time this year. Um, that's pretty cool. I also am just like I popped down. Like I said, I live pretty close to Gasa Gasa, which is a small little kind of indie venue, and I popped down there with my indie dad friend, like just for anything.
Cool.
There's a little rapper we saw recently. He's called La Reezy, who is really awesome. Local rapper. We saw this little punk band called Lifeguard, who's really awesome.
They're awesome.
So, Lifeguard.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they're really cool. I know it was fucking loud.
Yeah.
It was loud in there. Like it was a little I mean it was a little more punky than my usual fare, but I was definitely into it. I'm sure I'm blanking on some of my these days because I'm churning out so much content for all of you. I'm really reliant on my buddy Hand who is kind of like, oh, we're gonna go see this, we're gonna go see that. So we do have a couple of other kind of small indie, like new up and coming acts on our sched, but I don't remember what they were offhand. I don't think I have any jam stuff on my schedule, but I should remedy that. I don't know. What is there any good tours out there? What's happening right now
Um,
that's
I'm
hot shit?
I'm bad at thinking on the top of my head, but I'll send you some fun stuff coming up.
There's some good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I'm always open to checking out
You've got to
new
hit
jam.
the Sphere sometime if they ever have a Dead and Co show or a Fish show again.
Yeah, all
Good
my
times.
friends have done the Sphere. It's just as like in our various kind of, you know, schedules. I haven't been able to
Yeah.
make it work. I was maybe eyeing doing Orville Peck's Rodeo this year out in Palm
It's a
Springs. I've
good
always
one.
wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So he's really good. So
Yeah.
that's what I got, man. What about you? What do you got coming up?
I'm going to a really fun festival in Austin, Texas called Levitation Festival, which is kind of like a psych rock, indie rock festival.
Oh, that's cool. It's
Any
like, what's
excuse
the
to go to
headliner?
Austin. Brian Jonestown Massacre, Pavement, who were my favorite band besides Fish. Blonde Redhead. Um,
I love
I'm
that
blank.
you're a little not stereotypical for somebody to have a fish themed podcast because
Yeah,
a lot of the jam crowd is very uh, epistemically closed inside the jam
I
world,
know.
or
It's
they like go back to classical. They're like not you don't have a ton of pavement blonde redhead fish
well,
talk.
That's
bands.
kind of the idea of my account is that I'm kind of trying to feed them their vegetables and because Phish is like an anomaly for me. I'm not a huge jam guy, and Phish ironically got me into all this stuff because they would cover like My Bloody Valentine or Pavement, and Trey would talk about them in interviews, and I would go out and buy the tape or CD when Trey
Yeah.
mentioned it. So yeah.
Really? So you don't do other jam stuff? Like you're Phish only?
Well, it's funny because the account has actually gotten me into more jam than I would have in regular life. So I am now. So I love Widespread now. I'll go see, like Spafford or the Disco Biscuits are like a new favorite of mine.
Yeah,
You know.
Biscuits. The Goose Guys, I didn't get to see this because it was a school night, and I'll go see an indie show and have like two drinks and
Yeah.
then do the pods the next day. But like the type of behavior that would have been called for the Bisco Goose 12 p.m. to 4 a.m. set
Yeah.
at the Joy Theater was not in line with my need to have a podcast the next morning at 9 a.m.
Right.
So
Right.
I missed it. But the videos that my buddy showed of the Bisco Goose
Yeah.
set were really tight,
Yeah. You can't go
really
wrong with
nice.
Bisco. Bisco is everything I want in the jam band. It's like a rave jam band fun thing. So they're great. I love them.
All right, man. Well, it's good to meet you. Make an
Yeah.
excuse to get down to NOLA to see some shit. I'm sure we can find something good.
I really need to explore NOLA. I don't know it that well, so I will do that.
All right, brother.
Thanks, Tim.
Later.